And then I
I feel
choose.
like you perfected that story. That like almost got me teary-eyed.
Thank you. I haven't told it out loud.
I know, I was like, oh my, this is like the best story somebody's ever told me before. Welcome to another Auralis exclusive interview. We are here with Adley Kinsman, the most viewed woman on YouTube, the founder of Auralis, and the absolute definition of authenticity. We are not only talking pain to purpose today, but what it takes to get there, her chicken Chick Norris, and how to be a coffee bean in a world full of carrots and eggs. Let's dive in. All right, welcome Adley Kinsman to another Auralis exclusive interview. How's the new year treating you, girl?
Honestly, it's kicking me in the face right now. I think I'm still in the
hear
year
about it.
taking the shedding, to be honest, but that's just another day in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I tend to gaslight myself into gratitude and positivity in moments where it feels tough to do so. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm so privileged to be able to solve these problems, to have these challenges that I asked for, and these, issues that I once dreamed of having. I would much rather solve the problems I'm solving today than the problems that I used to solve.
Yeah. Well, it's that reframe. It's the like, okay, here's what I'm going through, but also like, what a privilege. Here's what I'm going through with the leak in my house, but I have a house. Here's what I'm dealing with my kids, but I have my kids. Here's the pushback I'm dealing with in my company, but I have my company. So I love that. And I think that a lot of listeners and a lot of people who are going to read your feature in Auralis magazine coming out this spring are going to resonate with that. So I'm really excited to have you. I'm really just so drawn to your transparency and how you show up online and how you lead yourself, because I think that regardless of the blueprints and the strategies and the step-by-steps and everything that we have available to us, so abundant in resources, what we have available to us now. But I mean, nothing beats just relating to someone who has been through the ringer. Like, we're all just playing the same game at different levels, right? So with that said, I really want to touch base with where you came from, because from what I remember correctly, diving into your journey, I mean, you were bankrupt and then all of a sudden built this empire over the span of a decade. So like, do you feel like you go back to that? Like, I don't want to say like we don't think about where we come from, but do you ever have those moments where you're like, wow, 10 years ago, I was in this place where I didn't even think I was going to be able to put food on the table, but here I am now. Do you have those moments often? Or when you do, like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, I think I do think about it often because that brokenness is ingrained in every fiber of my body. The result of that is an insatiable need to create purpose from that pain and for my life to be proof of everything that God can do in a life when you're persistent and you trust in not only your own abilities, but your own abilities to listen and be guided by something way more knowledgeable than yourself. I think that time gives me empathy as a leader today. It gives me empathy in the way that I lead my team, in the way that I create products and what products I create, because it's the tools I wish I would have had, and that time also gives me enormous delusional belief in myself and my abilities. And I'm so thankful for that, because when you're going through it, if you start to look back at your life and you see the patterns of, man, I tend to make it out of all these valleys, and I can always look back and tie a reason to why that was a blessing. Now, next time you're getting kicked in the face, you could be like, what lesson am I going to learn from this? Man, I know this is a blessing in disguise. I know this is going to be great. And not only does it make it more tolerable while you're in it, you start training your brain chemistry to look at things different, because whatever you focus on magnifies, right? So I'm like, focus on how hard this is, you give up, because I'm like, this isn't worth it. I'd rather just stay comfortable, right? But if you can pattern that happens time after time, that this is always for you. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And you can really believe that and trust in that pattern. You find something in yourself that you're always looking for, the happiness. There's a guy, I'm blanking on his name on Instagram. He's bald, skinny, but strong. He teaches a class on happiness. And in this class, he has people start documenting all the bad things that are happening to them. Write it down. And in the next column, it's something like within 30 days, you write down why that was what lesson you learned from it.
Yeah.
And then in 6 months from then, the third column, you write what blessing came of it. So now his kids are actively doing that practice through this course at this college. And they're now coming to class being like, this horrible thing happened to me.
That is so cool.
Yeah, this rejection happened because they're training themselves to think of it differently. And I wish I would have known of that practical exercise that would have saved me probably some pain. But I think all of us in entrepreneurship kind
Mhm.
of figure that out anyway, you know?
Well, yeah, it's a reframe. And I mean, I feel like reframes are practice, right? Like we look at pain as like this thing we want to avoid or this thing, this like table of resistance, where really it's like, okay, if we go head on with the pain, if we go head on with the things that are being mirrored back to us and we reframe it and learn to leverage it as an experience that we're meant, it's like part of the process. It is the strategy, so to speak. Like we have to go through this experience in order to figure out what our next move is. Everybody wants to know their next move, but it's like you're not willing to go through the process to figure that out and just be and exist and go through the things that, because we're also in a human experience. So when you say that, like I have so much gratitude for the things that I experience in my business, in my life, in my relationships, especially the pain, because it wakes me up a little bit, right? It wakes me up a little bit. I know you and I are like such driven, high performing women. And it's just like when I experience pain, it really like humbles me and brings me back to the human experience. But
Mm.
like, I wasn't always like that. I wasn't always able to reframe things. So at what point in your career did you start like building enough evidence to where you could actually be like, okay, it's time to really be grateful for what I'm going through right now instead of just sitting in victim or sitting in the circumstance or, letting the pain kind of like dictate how you feel moving forward?
I think the circumstances aren't going to change in many cases. When external things are happening to you, you
Mhm.
can't change the circumstances. All you can control is how you handle them. And you get to choose what type of experience you're going to have. If you become bitter and victimized, you're going to be freaking miserable. I
Mhm.
don't want to be miserable. So the only other alternative is the reframe that we're talking about. And so it's a survival mechanism just as much as it is a success principle, and I had to
Yeah.
learn it first for survival, but what a blessing that was, you know?
Yeah.
And just to realize that gratitude, and people say it all the time, it's become cliche, but man, it's been the only thing that I can point people back to is if you're struggling to see anything good in your life, you have to change the focus and you have to change the frame. And the quickest way to do that is an active gratitude practice. C.S.
Yeah.
Lewis talked about if you want to love something, he was talking about wanting to love God when he didn't, and he didn't believe that. And he was like, but if you act, turns out, if you act as if you love something and take the behavior as if you were to love this thing, in time, you will find that you presently come to love,
Oof.
you know?
Yes.
And so that's
Preach.
his relationship with God. It's seek and you will find, right? What you focus on magnifies. It's just different ways of saying the
Say
same.
it until you believe it.
Say it until you believe it and
Yeah.
act accordingly. Because I think people get law of attraction a little wrong too. I heard this once and I forget from whom. Maybe it was Vishen Lakhiani, but it's really law of resonance. You have to trick yourself into becoming it. You have to take the actions. You have to change. And then you resonate because you've become it. And then you attract what you're trying to attract into your life. But first, it starts with you becoming it. And you become it by taking the appropriate behavior. What's going to make you take the appropriate behavior? Changing the way that you think about it. That's why every entrepreneur preaches mindset above all else. And it sounds so
Oh,
cliche,
100%.
but it has to start there. Otherwise, that you miss the first rung. And then when the ladder shakes, you will fall because you didn't build the support mechanism to keep you intact.
Yeah, I mean, I find this with a lot of women, especially a lot of women and men in our industry right now. It's like cliche, but the gratitude and the mindset is like so simple when we think about how overcomplicated we make everything else. And I think that that's why, as humans who desire something so bad, like money in the business and the clients and all of the things, I
Yeah.
think we tend to say like it shouldn't be that easy. And so a lot of people, instead of the gratitude practices, instead of the mindset reframes, instead of the things that we all do preach because we've all created evidence from that, like my own life is a journey of that as well. It's like that sounds too simple, so I'm not going to do it. And because I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to call it cliche.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's really kind of like a projection of like, okay, but as humans, things are meant to be simple. And that's where I found the most abundance that's come into my life and really the opportunities to trust myself and God. And, my path is keeping it simple. But we like to overcomplicate things because we're conditioned to be like hard work. It should be hard and nail biting and nitty gritty in order to create success in our life. So the gratitude practice, I want to know. I want to know, Adley Kinsman, what do you do on a daily basis to practice gratitude? And when did you start this? Does it evolve?
That's a great question. I was very active in it when I was going through bankruptcy at 23 years old, and I didn't own the rights to my own name commercially, Adley, to use as an entertainer. But my situation was that somebody else's is something different. But for me, it was as basic as I'm so thankful for, like, I didn't want to do it. You're resentfully doing it. Like, I'm so thankful for whatever's in front of you. You're like, this expo marker. But you have to force yourself to go through it. I'm thankful for this expo marker because it allows me to write down my ideas. And
Mm,
because I get to write down my ideas means that I have a choice here. And the fact that I even have ideas means I'm creative. And I'm so thankful that I'm creative because I'm able to create something out of nothing. And I realize opportunities are all around me. And then once you just start doing it, if you're doing it with a heart to really understand the practice, you'll be so freaking excited about this expo marker and the blessing that this is by the end of it. And it's a practice like anything else, like yoga. Like you're not very good at it at first. You just have to commit to it and then you get better.
guilty.
Like anything
I'm
else.
guilty.
Same. And for me now, it's more just I'm not great at it by any means, but it does feel more ingrained in just my day-to-day mentality of just an
Yeah.
immediate reframe. It's not something I have to actively practice anymore. It's more like muscle memory and just has become more a
Mm,
part of my identity through trauma and through survival. But I really struggle with keeping things simple. I'm
yeah.
still in the stage of things feeling very difficult and complicated. And it's because it changes so much that the second I think I've got something figured out and locked and I finally made it simple, something has made it complicated again. And maybe I am the common denominator here. That's quite possible. It's also the nature of being in the industry that we're in, of attention and social media.
100%.
Yeah, where nothing stays
Yeah.
the same for more than a couple days.
Well, I can't imagine things getting too comfortable for you, being that you have billions of views on your content. However, the pieces of your life that do start to get comfortable, or habits that you do create that just stay kind of balanced, like how do you stay grounded in your purpose without like craving the change? I know for me, and I know a lot of people in the industry, because we do kind of create purpose from pain, but a lot of us are also like neurodivergent. So for me, when I start to see things get simple, if I could get my tongue out of my ass, I start to want to pivot, right? I start craving change. I'm like, okay, it shouldn't be this easy. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm stagnant because I've created this incredible empire that like can give me days where I'm not doing anything and I'm like, wait a minute. Why is this so comfortable? Why does this seem so easy? How do you navigate that without just like completely steering the skidster off your path and like going off-roading? Because I know a lot of people will want to know that from somebody who creates such elevated content and an elevated presence online, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. I feel like a lot of people struggle with that like void or the slowness or the flows of the ebbs and flows. And a lot of times we'll try to start creating new things and do something else because they think they're not doing enough or they need to have tasks to manage.
Yeah. I have not gotten to the point where things are slow. And my husband reminds me of this all the time. He goes, "You're realizing now that it's always going to be this way unless you change." Because
Mm.
I do have so many ideas as a creative. It is idea. I will never run out of them. And I am excited by all of them. And all of them can work, Adley, but not all at the same time. Right. And so for me, it's prioritization, realizing that there is no sailing off into the sunset for me. It is not in my DNA. Where it is my husband's. He's like,
I literally just got full body goosebumps from that.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He tells me every day where I'm like, I'm building and then we're going to exit this. And then there'll be a day. He goes, he's realized now and just kind of put a mirror up to me. He goes, you don't want that. You would not be happy not building. He goes, you're a birther. I don't think he called me a
Mm.
birther. I have no kids, but it is so deeply ingrained in me to create that I create my own chaos to where my nervous system would probably feel like yours does if I, if I let
Stop.
it just be simple. It'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, no, something's wrong. I should be doing more." And I wrestle with this, I should be doing more thing because I feel so lucky to be alive and to be on this earth and to have this human experience, especially such a blessed one. Even when it was bad, it was still blessed because I got to be here. I got to feel these big feelings and have a full human experience. And now I can only say that in hindsight, it certainly felt horrible going through it. But now I am so excited by the opportunity to create. Some days I certainly wish it would slow down and we would build a different system. And that is what I'm working on. But my heart is still always at peace. And it is, I have such privilege and I recognize that. And that wanting to do more is, I have these gifts and I want to use them in that privilege that I do have to be in this situation to help the person that I once was, because I remember how badly I yearned for answers back then when it wasn't so easy for me. And so I think that we all are designed unique, whether our gift is helping people go viral consistently and predictably, if it's as vain as that. But to me, that's just the first domino that falls to helping put magnifying glasses against people's mission, message, product, or service. That's the deeper why. It's so people can have confidence in their own authenticity and abilities. It's not going viral for viral's sake. It's what amplification of a message can do for the world. And I've just been the product of that. And I was a beneficiary of somebody else's wisdom in that before I was able to provide it for others. And that's the addicting part. For me, getting big numbers is almost expected, and I'm disappointed. Like, that's expected. So the thrill is gone when it's the expectation. And so for me now, the equal, if not greater thrill is when I'm getting Shirley from Wisconsin, her first million or 3 million or 10 million views. When I'm able to say one little thing to her that gives her a light bulb that has her sell out a t-shirt line. You know, like that is the new thrill. And I think any other entrepreneurs, and certainly most people listening to this that are ethical, realize the second that you solve problems for yourself, you solve your own basic needs, the immediate next desire is to help somebody else, to show people, I have an unlock, I have a key, who can I help with this? And this business is no different.
Well, I'm in Wisconsin, so that's wild that you said that. I'm like, wait, Shirley?
In my life.
Do I know Shirley? Should I sit down and have a conversation with Shirley? So that's so great. I would love to know, how do you discern between the ideas? Like, I'm the woman who wakes up at 2:00 in the morning to go pee, and I'm sitting there going, must exhaust ideas. So like, how do you pick which ones you're going to do? Or do you feel it in your body, like a higher calling for the certain things? Or like, how do you navigate that?
The latter. And that's so dumb and unhelpful to say I feel it. But at this point, I'm honed in more than I was in the beginning, where I would chase all the rabbits, everything that I was curious about, which was a wonderful phase. And then you realize you don't actually build anything. You have a lot of life experiences. You're not stacking. You're not going anywhere. And I still struggle with this. I'm at least a bit more linear now. But when I realized the pattern in my own life and behavior is, okay, these ideas aren't going to stop and you can't chase them all. And you are responsible for people's salaries and revenue, and you've made commitments. So you have to choose. And so I just tell myself, you can do all of this. You can do all these big, exciting things. You just can't do them all at the same time. So we're going to prioritize based on what is the most helpful in just this decision-making matrix, you know? And then with that, just feeling what is going to solve the most problems and take the biggest swing with the least amount of potential resistance, because the resistance is going to be there anyway. But how can we have the most impact with the least amount of effort always?
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. So the big question, how do you deal with pushback?
From who?
Anybody. Family, relationship, friends, people on the internet, specifically people on the internet. Let's be real.
Yeah, that was a hard one to get over. And we always say that everything that you want is on the other side of Cringe Mountain. And I don't mean videos in the way that we used to make the cringiest videos on the internet. You don't have to make content. What I mean is, you're going to feel cringe when you're in growth mode, when you're outside your comfort zone. You're going to feel embarrassed, icky. What are they going to say? Who am I? What an imposter I am. That is good. That's the feeling. Chase that, because that means you're growing. That means you're trying something different. You're pressing your own limitations, you know, and you're going to press on other people's sensibilities and their opinions of you and what they think is possible for you. And that's a shedding experience all its own. I have been fortunate to have good friends around me that I think genuinely root for me, or they just don't cut me down to my face. One of the two. But
I love that.
For a lot of people, it does harden them. And they're like, F everybody, I'm just doing it my way. And I've watched people do that. And it goes back to misery. Like, you're going to have, their circumstances could stay the same, but you get to choose the experience. And there's a story called The Carrot, the Egg, and the Coffee Bean. Are you familiar with it?
No.
There's a kid.
I would love to be familiar with it though.
Okay. There's this parable of this boy who comes, or I think it's a little girl. She comes to her mom in the kitchen and she's just bitching about whatever's going on. And she's, woe is me, and a victim. And her mom's listening to her, but she just takes out a raw carrot, a raw egg, and a coffee bean. And the daughter's like, what are you doing? What are you organizing all this stuff on the table for? Just, are you listening to me? And the mom was like, I was listening to you. And I'm hearing that you have a choice right now. The carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean, they're all going to face the same resistance. They're all going to go into a pot of boiling water. They're all going to have the same experience, but they're all going to react completely differently. The carrot is going to be soft under that pressure. It's going to be soft when things get hot. It's going to be soft when it's going to be softened. It's going to become very weak and limp. The egg is going to get hardened on the outside. It's going to still be soft in the center, but it's going to be hardened to the world around it in order to protect itself from that resistance trying to get in and hurt it. It's going to throw up that protection mechanism and become hardened to the world around it. And then the coffee bean, that same boiling water is going to bring out the absolute best in it. It's going to bring out its truest purpose and the way that it was designed. It's going to let it in its fullest form in the most beautiful, aromatic, deep, rich experience is the one that the coffee bean is going to have. Same circumstances, 3 completely different ways to approach it. And I was told that in high school, and it has stuck with me. And I ask myself often, am I being a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean right now? And then I choose.
Feel like you perfected that story. That like almost got me teary-eyed.
Thank you. I haven't told it out loud.
I know. I was like, oh my, this is like the best story somebody's ever told me before.
I'm so glad it'll stick with you now. But if you can ask yourself and just get in the practice of self-coaching and analyzing, okay, which one am I being right now? I don't want to be hardened to the outside world because then I won't recognize when good people are right in front of me. I'll assume the worst in them. And I don't want to be a carrot. I don't want to just go weak under pressure, and I would choose to be a coffee bean. So what behaviors can I align with right now? Even when I don't feel like it, how can I be a coffee bean? Not just for myself, but also for those around me. So I can be of my best and highest use and use all this pain for a purpose. So there's testimony after the test.
Well, for the listeners, in a world of carrots and eggs, be the coffee bean.
Amen.
Is what we learned today. So snaps for Adley. Okay. I want to hear your purpose in your words. What's your purpose, Adley?
I believe my purpose is to give people confidence in their own authenticity and ability. I spent a long time trying to be somebody other than myself and like trying on all these different hats and, just different personalities or ways of being and maneuvering through the world. And none of them lasted very long. And anytime I just was myself, that was when a breakthrough would happen. And I realized pretty quickly, thankfully, that when I was myself, that was what would resonate. And I would have a quantum leap. And anytime I tried to be anything other than that, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. And this is really how I close most of my keynotes too. I won't tell you the whole story, but in a nutshell, I was trying to make videos early on and I was trying to look like everybody else. And I was studying the Vine stars at the time and what they were doing because I was in a position to have to learn how to make comedy videos for a paycheck. And I was just doing exactly what everybody else was doing, beat for beat. And everything was tanking. And it screamed inauthentic because it was. And then one night, all that footage was corrupt. I had to have something turned in within a matter of hours. And I'm crying. It's like 1 a.m. And I go to my boyfriend at the time, and we were very country. And he just goes, Ad, why don't you just go get them chickens in the backyard and do something with them? They make you happy. And they did. I love those chickens. So I went to the backyard and I got Chick Norris and Shakira, Ellen DeGeneres, Dolly Parton, Kim Kardashian, Bruce Henner. Thought it was a girl, turned out to be a rooster. So I get all my chickens and I just put them in the bathroom, in the bathtub, and I improv this bit where I'm like curling Bruce Henner's hair. My boyfriend comes in, what are you doing? And I just improv this whole scene, like a 19-second video of me and my chickens in the bathtub. And I was like, I can't turn this in. This is bonkers. And they hated it. But I kind of thought it was funny because I love these chickens, right? And I was just being myself. And so I threw it online. And within 24 hours, that video had done 19 million views overnight and gained me 102,000 followers.
Chick Norris and what was the other one?
Bruce
What was
Jenner. And I hate Nick though. I hate that my back had to be against the wall for me to just be myself. But when I was, that was what resonated. That
but
was
in that
that
split
work.
second, yeah, that split second you gain the evidence.
And
And
that
most people won't.
they won't, but that to me has become the North Star and the
Mm,
greatest reminder. Like, yes, you can be inspired by others. Yes, you can learn from them and take notes, but you have to take your own energy into everything. Even if you're doing a trend and you're going to do a spin on what somebody else did, so much of the internet is made up of that. And we like to see other people bring their energy to a fun idea, but make sure you're still in it somewhere,
yeah.
you know, make sure, because your followers were probably going to love seeing you do this thing and inspire them. And the internet's a huge place. Maybe they haven't seen it, but put your own originality in it, not just so you're not a copycat, but so you don't lose yourself in the process of creating. And you don't wake up one day being like, who am I actually? I've been there too. And in the world of viral landscapes or just in personal branding, which everybody is seeking right now, you don't want to wake up one day and realize you don't know who you are and you've built a brand that you can't live up to, because then you will burn out and then everything will be for nothing.
Wow. Well, I was going to ask another question, but that was beautiful. And I don't think I can
Moral
top
of the
that.
story is find your damn chickens.
Find you, Dan. Go curl Chick Norris's hair. This was absolutely beautiful. I would love to know, is there anything that you're up to in 2026 that we should know about or that we can know about?
Yeah. We're building tools because right now, Viralish and the clients that we serve are very much still reliant on my mind, because I can see
Mm.
things clearly. And so can my team, of being able to say, oh my gosh, do this, do this, do this. They get great results. But actually compiling billions and billions and billions of data points and thousands of hours of coaching calls to find pattern recognition. And we built it into a software that I'm very, very excited to put out. It trumps everything on the market for making better content faster. It's very, very good. And so I'm very excited to put that out there and then constantly iterate. Like, that software will continue to change, but then people are not, they're not relying on me and my team's opinions of what they should do. They're relying on their own data married with the data of what is proven in great storytelling. And if we can take away a lot of the thinking and do a lot of those creative bridge building for them, then I think we'll be able to serve a lot of people at a much higher level and a lot faster so they can keep up.
Which means that you're going to have more space to do more things.
Yeah, and I'll fill it right up. Yeah.
Yay, I know you will, girl. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this. I can't wait to put this into a beautiful feature published on Amazon, delivered straight to my door and all
I'm
of our
so
readers' doors.
excited. Thank you for
I'm so
considering me in
excited.
all of this. It's such a privilege.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you so soon.
Okay, bye.